Hey, chosen ones, stop scrolling for a second. This message is for you. Life has a way of testing those who carry the greatest light. And sometimes it feels as though the world has placed a target on your back. You've probably wondered why your journey seems so much harder than others, why trials keep finding their way to you, and why certain people are determined to dim your shine. But here's the truth. Your struggles aren't random, they're preparation. Think of diamonds. They are formed under immense pressure and heat, conditions that would destroy ordinary stones. In the same way, your hardships are refining you, not defining you. When people tried to break you, betray you, or underestimate you, they didn't realize they were actually playing a role in shaping your destiny. Their rejection became your redirection. Historically and biblically, we see this pattern. Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery and wrongfully imprisoned, yet those very hardships positioned him to become a ruler in Egypt. What looked like defeat was divine strategy. That's the same energy at work in your life. Every time someone counted you out, God was counting you in. Each setback was a setup for your breakthrough. Their envy, their attempts to bury you, only watered the soil where your purpose would grow. And now, the realization is hitting them like bricks. They tried to stop someone who was unstoppable because your calling isn't man-made, it's God-ordained. This is why doors keep opening against all odds, why you rise even when you fall, and why people who once laughed are now watching in awe. Your journey has never been about fitting in, it's been about standing out. The resistance you faced wasn't punishment, it was training. Every betrayal sharpened your discernment, every loss expanded your faith. And every storm taught you how to dance in the rain. The very people who tried to bury you are now witnesses to your bloom, because you were never just surviving, you were being prepared to thrive. So, chosen ones, understand this. You are not ordinary. You were selected for a higher path, one that requires endurance, resilience, and unshakable faith. Their jealousy is simply proof of your anointing, and their resistance is confirmation of your assignment. You weren't just part of the story, you were the story all along. Point one, their fear is a reflection of your anointing. The people who try to dim your light aren't doing it because you're flawed or unworthy. They're doing it because your brilliance makes them uncomfortable. When someone shines brightly, it's not merely an aesthetic presence, it's a statement. Your energy, your aura, and your divine calling reflect a frequency that resonates beyond the ordinary. And when others cannot match that frequency, they feel a sense of threat. Fear, jealousy, and resentment. These are not reflections of your character, but mirrors of their own limitations. Psychologists and social scientists alike note that envy often arises when we encounter traits or achievements in others that we secretly desire, but feel incapable of attaining ourselves. Your light is a magnet for admiration and, paradoxically, for insecurity-induced attacks. People don't attack what they can't diminish. They attack what they cannot comprehend. Historically, humanity has seen this pattern over and over. Think of visionaries, pioneers, and leaders whose ideas were once ridiculed or suppressed. The Galileo Galileis, the Martin Luther Kings, and the Nikola Teslas. The brighter their purpose, the more resistance they encountered. The world instinctively tries to resist extraordinary energy, not because it's wrong or harmful, but because it challenges the comfort zones of the masses. Your divine glow, the calling that feels uniquely yours, is not just light, it is a disruptor. It awakens dormant consciousness in others, highlighting what they themselves have left unrealized. And when that awakening occurs, many recoil, some lash out, and others project their inner turmoil onto you. But here is the truth. When someone attempts to dim your light, it is a signal not of your inadequacy, but of your undeniable power. Spiritual teachers often call this the shadow effect. When your inner light grows, it casts shadows on those who have neglected their own growth. Their negativity is a mirror, reflecting their own fears, self-doubt, and unhealed wounds. It's not personal in the sense that it is about your value. It is deeply personal for them because your authenticity confronts their own lack of authenticity. This is why gossip, criticism, and subtle sabotage often accompany the emergence of a chosen one. Your presence becomes a catalyst for revealing truths, and truth is rarely comfortable for everyone. This is where your strength lies, in understanding that external resistance is not your burden to internalize. You are not defined by the shadows of others. You are defined by your vision, your purpose, and the unwavering resonance of your soul. Your anointing is a divine signature, and just as the sun cannot ask the clouds to stop casting shadows, you cannot ask others to stop feeling threatened by your luminosity. Every time someone tries to dim you, recognize it as proof that you are moving in alignment with your higher self. Their discomfort is confirmation that your light is operating at a level beyond the ordinary. Let their fear be a reminder of your courage. Let their jealousy highlight your abundance. Let their hate teach you discernment. You are not here to shrink for the comfort of others. You are here to radiate, to illuminate, and to shift paradigms simply by existing as your truest self. The world is not afraid of your goodness, it is afraid of your power, and power in its purest form is magnetic, transformative, and unstoppable. Stand tall, chosen one, for your light is not just for you, it is for every soul that dares to witness it and feel the awakening that comes from being in your presence. In every attempt to dim you, see an opportunity to shine even brighter, for the universe always aligns with those who refuse to hide. Point 2, the wilderness was your training ground, not your punishment. Think about all those lonely nights when the silence seemed deafening, the times when every plan crumbled and every door you knocked on seemed firmly shut. Those moments weren't punishments, and they weren't random misfortunes. They were essential pauses orchestrated by the universe, designed to guide you toward a higher purpose. History and scripture are filled with examples of this principle in action. Take Moses, for instance. Before he could lead the Israelites out of Egypt, he was exiled into the wilderness for 40 years. That desert wasn't a place of punishment, it was a crucible, a sacred training ground where Moses shed the habits, fears, and attachments that could have hindered his divine mission. Similarly, every moment of isolation you've endured was a wilderness uniquely tailored to prepare you for your destiny. In those periods of solitude, stripped of distractions and external support, you were given a rare gift, the chance to confront yourself. Modern psychology echoes this ancient truth. Studies on resilience show that when individuals face extended periods of challenge and isolation, the mind often adapts by strengthening self-reliance, sharpening problem-solving skills, and cultivating emotional intelligence. In other words, your periods of hardship weren't just tests. They were intensive training modules designed to awaken your full potential. You learned to trust your own instincts, to hear the quiet whispers of your intuition, and to recognize that external validation is never a prerequisite for purpose. The wilderness experience, whether literal or metaphorical, also teaches patience and the value of timing. Consider the life of the great polymath Nikola Tesla. Tesla experienced financial ruin, public ridicule, and professional isolation, yet these trials allowed him to refine his inventions and ideas in private, ultimately shaping the future of electricity and technology. Similarly, your own periods of struggle were not detours. They were the hidden corridors where your inner genius, faith, and resilience were being meticulously honed. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, often prefers to shape leaders, visionaries, and chosen ones away from the spotlight until they are ready to step into it fully. Furthermore, solitude fosters a unique kind of spiritual intimacy. When you're alone, the noise of the world fades and the connection between your soul and the divine becomes unmistakably clear. Mystics across centuries, from St. John of the Cross to Rumi, describe this clarity. In isolation, the soul learns to discern truth, to hear the subtle guidance of God, and to cultivate an inner compass that never falters. This is why your moments of abandonment were not empty. They were sacred, instructive, and transformative. They stripped away the superficial layers, revealing the core of your being and preparing you for the impact you are destined to make. Even more profoundly, the wilderness cultivates courage. Every time you faced doubt, every time you felt invisible or misunderstood, you were practicing the very skill that would later allow you to stand firm in your calling. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the conscious choice to act in alignment with your purpose despite it. Your past setbacks were rehearsal stages, your solitude the classroom, and your endurance the proof that you are ready for a destiny far greater than any comfort zone could contain. So when you reflect on your journey, see these trials for what they truly are, divine preparation. Like Moses, like Tesla, like countless others before you, your time in the wilderness was a sacred incubation period. Every moment of isolation, Every tear shed in silence and every setback endured was meticulously designed to forge a soul capable of fulfilling a destiny that is as extraordinary as it is inevitable. The universe wasn't punishing you. It was preparing you to rise. Point 3. Your no was a divine intervention. Have you ever looked back on a moment in your life and realized you dodged a bullet without even knowing it? Perhaps it was a job you were certain was your dream, only for it to slip through your fingers at the last moment. Maybe it was a relationship you poured your heart into that ended abruptly, leaving you in shock and heartbreak. Or it could have been an opportunity you had worked tirelessly for, only to hear a definitive no when all you wanted was a yes. At the time, these moments felt like devastating losses, like the universe had conspired against you. The weight of disappointment pressed down on your chest, leaving you questioning your worth, your timing, and even your purpose. But now, with the clarity that only time and experience can bring, you can see a pattern, a profound, undeniable truth. That no you received, as painful as it was never a rejection of your potential. It was a form of protection. It was a subtle divine hand steering you away from what wasn't meant for you and guiding you toward what was. Think about it. How many times in history have people narrowly avoided disasters that could have destroyed their lives or derailed their destiny? Abraham Lincoln, for example, failed in business, suffered multiple election losses, and faced personal heartbreak before becoming one of the most iconic leaders in American history. Every setback he experienced was a redirection, positioning him for the moment when his influence would be unparalleled. You too have moments in your life where the universe, or God if you prefer, steps in to shield you, even if you can't see it at the time. That job that fell through might have been in a toxic environment where your talents would have been stifled. That relationship that ended could have been a trap, limiting your growth or keeping you from someone truly aligned with your soul's purpose. Each no is not the end. It is a cosmic recalibration, a quiet whisper telling you to trust the timing of your life and the plan laid out specifically for you. This concept is rooted not just in spirituality, but in human psychology as well. Studies in cognitive science suggest that humans often misinterpret rejection as failure, triggering stress and anxiety. However, when we later experience unforeseen benefits from these failures, we realize our brains were being guided to adapt and reassess, to explore better paths we might have overlooked. Divine redirection, then, is both a spiritual and practical principle. When one path closes, it encourages you to discover a more suitable one. The trick is learning to see rejection as protection, not punishment. The world often teaches us to chase every opportunity, to never let a door close without kicking it open again. But true wisdom lies in discerning which doors are worth pursuing and which doors are meant to remain closed. So the next time a no lands in your life, pause, breathe, and consider it from a higher perspective. Instead of mourning the closure, celebrate the unseen guidance. Every closed door is a nudge toward an open window that is tailor-made for your growth, joy, and purpose. You weren't denied, you were protected. You weren't blocked, you were guided. That twist of fate that once felt like a curse might just have been the universe's way of saying, not this, wait, something greater is coming. And when you finally walk through the right window, one that aligns with your soul's calling, you'll understand that every detour, every setback, every rejection was never wasted. It was preparation, it was protection. It was a testament to the unseen forces guiding the chosen one, shaping your path in ways far more magnificent than you ever imagined. Point 4. You are a spiritual mirror. Imagine for a moment that you are a living, breathing spiritual mirror. Not just any mirror, but one that reflects the deepest, rawest truths of the soul. When people encounter you, especially those who are not aligned with their divine purpose, they see more than just your presence. They see a reflection of what they've been avoiding all along: authenticity, integrity, and a life that's lived fully in alignment with God. You become an accidental spotlight on their spiritual shadows. And here's where the humor comes in. Most people don't enjoy being confronted by their own unhealed parts. It's uncomfortable. It's like holding up a mirror that doesn't just show your hair or your smile, but the parts of yourself you've tried to hide for years. Now let's get a little factual about this. In psychology, this is closely related to the concept of projection. When someone reacts negatively to you, whether it's anger, jealousy, or avoidance, they are often projecting their own unresolved issues onto you. Spiritually speaking, you are a catalyst for their awakening, even if they aren't ready to admit it. Your presence stirs their inner chaos simply because it reflects the divine order they're resisting. Think of it as a natural law of energy. Light and shadow cannot exist without each other. The brighter your light, the darker someone else's shadow may feel in contrast. That's not your burden, it's simply the physics of the spirit. Here's where the humor sneaks back in. People might try to break the mirror, meaning they attempt to hurt you, discredit you, or undermine your purpose. Others might choose the path of avoidance, quietly slipping away because facing your reflection is too confronting. And yet in every case, their reaction is never personal. It's never about your worth or your choices. You didn't do anything wrong. In fact, your authenticity is your gift. You're holding up the mirror of truth, and their discomfort is a byproduct of their own journey or lack thereof. This dynamic has been witnessed across spiritual traditions for centuries. In Christianity, Jesus often acted as a mirror to the Pharisees, exposing hypocrisy and spiritual blindness. In Buddhism, enlightened beings reflect the truths of suffering and detachment, forcing those around them to confront the illusions in their own lives. Even modern thought leaders and visionary figures function as mirrors, showing society the possibilities of a higher consciousness. It's not an attack. It's an invitation to awaken, to see beyond the mask, to step into alignment with the divine path. So, what does this mean for you, chosen one? It means you have permission to shine unapologetically. It means you can continue living in your truth without taking offense when someone reacts poorly to your light. Their response is an echo of their inner world, not a judgment of your own. And here's a playful secret. The more you embrace your divine alignment, the more obvious it becomes that you are a spiritual mirror. The more you radiate authenticity, the more people will either be drawn to your energy or feel challenged by it. Both reactions serve a higher purpose. In the end, being a spiritual mirror is both a privilege and a responsibility. You reflect the divine, you model what alignment looks like, and you help others awaken, even if they don't yet realize it. Laugh at the discomfort it creates. Honor the light you hold, and remember, the world doesn't need you to dim your glow. It needs you to reflect with clarity, courage, and a little bit of humor. After all, even the most awakened souls can't resist wincing at the truth once in a while. Point 5, your silence is your power. You don't have to clap back at every jab or defend your name against every rumor. There is an immense, almost magnetic power in silence, one that many fail to understand. History is filled with examples of individuals who wielded silence as their secret weapon. Take Abraham Lincoln, for instance. Known for his patience and measured responses, he often let his adversaries' attacks roll off without direct retaliation. While critics doubted his capabilities, he quietly strategized and ultimately reshaped a nation. The lesson here is clear. Reacting to every insult, every rumor, diminishes your energy and distracts you from your true purpose. True power is not loud. It is precise, deliberate, and undeniable. When you rise above the noise, you create an invisible aura of strength. Gossipers and detractors are busy projecting their insecurities outward, trying to destabilize you with words that hold no real weight. Meanwhile, you are building meticulously, strategically, relentlessly. Imagine a sculptor at work. Each strike of the chisel does not announce itself with fanfare, it simply shapes the marble. In the same way, your focus on growth, learning, and creation shapes your life into something remarkable. Those who attempt to pull you down are, paradoxically, demonstrating your value, because nothing is more threatening to insecurity than someone who refuses to engage in petty conflict. Silence also sharpens perception. By not reacting impulsively, you gain insight into the patterns of others. You begin to see who is truly motivated by malice, who is driven by envy, and who is simply lost in their own chaos. This awareness allows you to navigate relationships and situations with precision. Many ancient warriors and leaders understood this principle intuitively. Sun Tzu, in The Art of War, emphasized that restraint and observation are more powerful than impulsive confrontation. The quiet observer often sees opportunities that the loudest voices miss. By withholding your reaction, you not only conserve your energy, but also elevate your strategic position. There's also a psychological dimension to this approach. When people attack and you refuse to retaliate, it confuses them. Humans are wired to expect responses. When none comes, it challenges their assumptions and undermines their confidence. Your composure in the face of chaos becomes a mirror reflecting their own instability. The more they attempt to provoke you, the more they inadvertently highlight the futility of their actions. In essence, your silence is a statement, a louder declaration than any argument you could muster. It communicates that you are unshakable, self-sufficient, and deeply aware of your own worth. Moreover, letting your success speak for itself cultivates respect organically. Think of innovators like Nikola Tesla or entrepreneurs like Steve Jobs. They didn't spend their lives defending ideas to skeptics. They focused on creation, and the results spoke louder than any rebuttal ever could. Success becomes the ultimate response to doubt and disparagement. It's a form of influence that is undeniable and timeless. When your achievements accumulate quietly but visibly, those who once tried to undermine you begin to realize that their jabs were meaningless. Ultimately, the power of silence is transformative. It is not a passive retreat, but an active strategy, a disciplined way of asserting dominance without uttering a word. While others are caught in cycles of envy, petty criticism, and distraction, you are free to build, free to grow, and free to become a force that cannot be ignored. In a world obsessed with noise, gossip, and instant reactions, the chosen one knows that silence is not absence. It is presence magnified. Your empire is rising, your vision is clear, and the quiet strength you embody is exactly what makes you untouchable. Point 6. The backstabbers were your bodyguards. This one might sound crazy at first, but trust me, it's worth your full attention. Betrayal, as gut-wrenching as it feels, is not always what it seems. Those who betrayed you, who whispered lies behind your back, spread rumors, or even abandoned you at your lowest, weren't only acting out of cruelty. In a paradoxical way, they were performing a cosmic service. Think about it. Life, much like nature, has a way of pruning what no longer serves you. Just as gardeners cut away dead branches so the tree can flourish, betrayal serves as a painful but precise pruning tool in the human journey. It strips away masks, exposes false loyalty, and reveals who truly belongs in your inner circle. By forcing you to see the true colors of those around you, betrayal saves you from wasting years of energy on relationships that were draining rather than nourishing. In a sense, your betrayers acted like unknowing gatekeepers, spiritual bouncers at the doorway of your destiny, preventing the wrong energies from contaminating the path ahead. When betrayal first strikes, it feels like an open wound. The shock, the anger, the disorientation, it shakes the very foundation of your world. But underneath that raw sting lies a powerful lesson in discernment. Betrayal is a red flag waved directly in your face, urging you to pay attention to patterns and illusions you may have ignored. Imagine your life as a sacred temple. Betrayal is the fire that burns away the weeds, clearing the ground so only what is genuine and pure remains. Yes, the circle that surrounds you afterward may be smaller, but it is infinitely stronger. Those who remain are not there by accident. They are aligned with your higher vibration, the ones chosen to walk with you toward the future you are meant to create. They are not only companions, but also mirrors of your authentic self. History and psychology actually validate this perspective. Studies in social and behavioral psychology reveal that humans naturally thrive in environments with mutual trust and reciprocity. Toxic connections, on the other hand, are shown to increase stress, lower self-esteem, and even weaken the immune system. For instance, research published in the journal has found that people in strained relationships are more prone to depression and illness. In other words, betrayal, painful as it is, forces you to detox from relationships that could be slowly harming your mental and physical health. Spiritually, many traditions echo this truth. In Buddhism, betrayal is seen as a form of suffering that sparks mindfulness and detachment from unhealthy attachments. In Christianity, even Jesus was betrayed by Judas, not as a random misfortune, but as a necessary step that set into motion the fulfillment of a divine plan. Betrayal, then, is not the end of the story. It's the spark that ignites transformation. Think of it another way. If everyone in your life always remained loyal, you might never notice the subtle energies that don't align with your growth. Betrayal forces clarity. It shines a spotlight on the contrast between genuine support and hidden sabotage. It also refines your intuition. Studies suggest that after experiencing betrayal, people become more skilled at reading social cues and evaluating trustworthiness in others. What once was naivety evolves into wisdom. That painful moment when someone you trusted showed their true self becomes the seed of sharper discernment, ensuring you never waste time on counterfeit relationships again. This perspective can transform how you carry betrayal moving forward. Instead of clinging to anger or resentment, you can reframe it as a disguised blessing. Imagine how much energy is wasted replaying betrayals in your mind, wishing things were different. But what if that same energy could be redirected into growth, creativity, or building relationships with those who truly value you? The very act of betrayal, though unkind in execution, set you free. It freed you from the weight of false friends, disloyal partners, or toxic circles that were holding you back from a higher destiny. Your betrayers, without realizing it, handed you a gift. The gift of clarity and the gift of space to welcome new, healthier connections. So yes, betrayal hurts, it always will. But if you zoom out, you'll see it's not destruction, it's construction. It's the universe chiseling away at the excess, shaping you for your next season. Those who left, who deceived, who turned their back, did you an unexpected favor. They removed themselves so you could rise without their weight. And that makes betrayal not a curse, but a disguised form of grace. When you look back, you may even find yourself grateful because every betrayal was secretly a stepping stone, carving the path toward a destiny that is bigger, brighter, and entirely yours. Point 7. You were the catalyst for their awakening. Here's the most powerful truth. The very people who once tried to break you, who dismissed your potential and whispered doubts in your path, are now being forced to face a reality they never anticipated. They're witnessing your rise, your glow-up, and the blessings that seem to flow effortlessly into your life, and it unsettles them more than they'd like to admit. Psychologists describe this as cognitive dissonance, the mental discomfort that occurs when someone's long-held beliefs are shattered by undeniable evidence. For years they convinced themselves you would fail, that you weren't strong enough, smart enough, or resilient enough to succeed. Yet now the evidence of your success, visible, undeniable, and unshakable, stares them in the face. This contradiction tears at their sense of control because their narrative about you was never based on truth. It was rooted in their own insecurity, and when reality breaks their illusion, they are left confronting envy, false judgments, and the sobering truth that no amount of sabotage can override divine alignment. Both spiritual traditions and modern science affirm this principle. The universe operates on rhythm, balance, and reciprocity. Whether you call it karma, the law of sowing and reaping, or simply cause and effect, the truth stands. Negative energy projected onto someone aligned with their purpose cannot prevail, because purpose itself is not man-made. It is divinely sustained. Your journey, therefore, is much more than a personal victory. It is a living lesson for everyone watching. You are the embodiment of resilience, a walking testimony of divine protection, and living proof that a person anchored in faith and purpose cannot be destroyed by mere human opinion or malice. Research in positive psychology even supports this, showing that individuals who overcome adversity often experience what is known as post-traumatic growth. This type of growth doesn't simply restore a person to who they once were. It transforms them into someone wiser, stronger, and more grounded. That quiet strength others sense in you now, the magnetism, the light, the confidence, is no accident. It is the natural result of transformation, of pain turned into power, rejection turned into redirection, and wounds turned into wisdom. And those who doubted you cannot help but feel it. Your presence forces them to confront a mirror, reflecting their own stagnation and missed opportunities. While your path grows brighter, theirs seems dimmer, and that contrast is not only visible, it is convicting. Ironically, the very hate, envy, and attempts to derail you became fuel for your rise. History is filled with examples of this same truth. Thomas Edison was labeled too slow by his teachers, only to go on to become one of the greatest inventors in history. In Scripture, Joseph was betrayed by his brothers and sold into slavery, yet his suffering positioned him to become second in command in Egypt, ultimately saving nations from famine. This pattern repeats itself. Opposition, when met with resilience and faith, becomes transformation. What was meant to bury you becomes the soil for your growth. What was designed to crush you becomes the weight that strengthens your foundation. Modern resilience research echoes this as well, showing that grit, the ability to persevere through hardship, is one of the strongest predictors of long-term success. In other words, every attempt to break you only worked to build you. And now those who once sought to dim your light are forced to face a truth that both terrifies them and liberates you. You were chosen all along. Not chosen because you were flawless or superior, but chosen because your life was aligned with a purpose far greater than yourself. Your survival, your growth, and your rise are not accidents. They are evidence of a destiny that cannot be stolen. Today, your life itself has become a message louder than words, a sermon without a pulpit, and a spiritual alarm that awakens even your enemies. For them, it is a reckoning, the realization that their efforts to derail you only accelerated your transformation. For you, it is confirmation that every betrayal, every setback, and every lonely night was not wasted, but woven into a masterpiece of strength and testimony. And this is why your blessings shake them. It's not merely envy of what you have, but the haunting realization that they played a role in shaping the very resilience that lifted you higher. You are living proof of an ancient truth. What was meant for evil, God turned for good. And your rise is unstoppable, not because it silences your doubters, but because it fulfills a destiny they never had the power to deny. So, chosen ones, what's the ultimate takeaway? It's this. The attacks you've faced were never random accidents, but divine assignments meant to refine and reveal the strength already inside you. Think of gold. It must endure fire to become pure, and diamonds are formed only under crushing pressure. In the same way, your setbacks, betrayals, and struggles weren't placed in your path to break you, but to awaken the warrior within. History shows us that some of the most powerful figures, biblical leaders like Joseph, who was sold into slavery, or David, who spent years fleeing from Saul, had to endure seasons of hardship before stepping into their true calling. These trials were not punishments, but preparation. Maya Angelou captured this resilience perfectly with her timeless words, "Still, I rise." The bricks others threw at you were never meant to bury you. They became the very foundation for your next chapter. You were chosen long before anyone recognized it. And now it's your time to step into that reality. Walk boldly in your truth. Radiate your light so powerfully that it forces the world to pay attention. And remember, your journey is not coincidence. It's confirmation